Hey, what's going on? Your real Minnesota girl here. Today we're going to talk about, in my very first vlog, so excited I'm going to tell you, about how to make the most amazing Thanksgiving turkey. These are tips and tricks that have been passed down to me through the generations from my mom, from her mom, and from her mom, and so on and so forth. So hopefully you can take a little something from this today. Maybe you use some of it, maybe you don't. So today we're going to talk about how to make an amazing Thanksgiving turkey. Okay, the first part of this vlog, I did this morning in my pajamas. I got up, made myself a cup of coffee, and started working on my turkey and my dinner. No haters. So, there's a few steps to choosing and preparing a perfect Thanksgiving turkey. The first step is nice because you can do it in your pajamas and with your first morning cup of coffee. So I've used both Jennie-O and Butterball over the years. I just prefer my Butterballs. Thawing is also going to be very important. Okay, number one, for your turkey, you're going to have to plan ahead of time. If you buy a commercial frozen turkey, you're going to have to plan ahead of time. I bought my turkey about a week ago. It's been in the fridge for about a week and still frozen. Still hard and frozen. So, this is one of the secrets to having an amazing turkey. Not only you're going to want to do this for a couple of reasons. We're going to put the turkey in the sink and soak it in cold water. Cold water. Nothing but cold. And we're going to do this for two reasons. One, it's going to make the turkey very, very juicy. It's going to keep it a lot juicier while it's cooking because the turkey is going to have to cook slow and it's going to have to cook over several hours. So, thus, first reason, put the turkey in water. Two, when you cook your turkey, you want your turkey to be room temperature. This is going to ensure even baking. So if all the turkey, the entire body is one temperature, it's going to cook more evenly. The breast part of the turkey cooks faster than the legs. Don't know why, just does. Now, when you get your turkey, it's going to come with kind of a plastic netting over it. You want to make sure to cut that off, and only that to begin with. Now, sometimes when you get a turkey, it comes with these handy-dandy ropes. You're going to want to keep these. These are going to be beneficial. You're going to want them. So, next step, after you remove the netting, before you remove the plastic that's around the turkey, most turkey manufacturers will have some kind of cooking instructions on the turkey. Okay, I don't care what else you saw on YouTube. I don't care what you read on the Food Network. You are going to always want to cook the turkey per the manufacturer's instructions. Now, this particular turkey has some guidelines. All turkeys. Butterballs I really like because they put everything right on the outside of the package. See? Gives you guidelines for thawing and also for cooking. Now, again, you're only going to want to thaw your turkey with cold water. So what you're going to do is put your turkey breast side down. Okay? And you're going to put it into cold water. only cold. You will be surprised how fast your turkey will thaw out in just cold water. While your turkey is thawing, we're going to prepare the stuffing that you're going to put inside the turkey before it goes into the oven. Here's the recipe. First thing you're going to want is a bag of sage stuffing mix. Pepperidge Farm is a great brand. Brownberry is probably my favorite, but it's becoming more and more hard to find. But pretty much any sage and onion stuffing or crouton mix is going to work. So we're going to bust this whole bag open. Put it into a bowl. And it's going to kind of look like that. It's going to smell amazing. Now, you're just going to want to let this soak. You're going to want to let it soak in part warm water. You take it tepid right out of the faucet. Okay, and part chicken broth. That's the secret. But what you're going to want to do is make sure you get low sodium chicken broth. Low sodium chicken broth, because you don't want your stuffing to be super salty. Now, for the chicken broth, I just generally buy the cubed chicken cubes. Make sure you get low sodium. You do not want your dressing to be too salty. So what you're going to do is you're going to boil some water, and you're going to put 1 cube per 1 cup of water. So once you get your water boiled, 1 cube per cup of water, you're going to mix those together. So if you're lucky enough to have a food processor like I am, this is where you're going to want to throw in your giblets and your onion. You can do this with a food processor or a blender. Both will work just fine. If you don't have one, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. Just chop it up by hand into small bite-sized pieces. So, since I do have a food processor, like I said, you're going to want to use about 6 giblets per bag of stuffing. For each turkey, you're going to want to use 1 bag of stuffing per 12 pounds. Now, since I'm making 2 kinds of stuffing, I'm not going to use 2 bags of stuffing because I'm making 2 different kinds, a giblet and a jazzed up commercial stuffing. So, I'm going to get this going. Morning, then you can start throwing in your onion. I've kind of quartered my onion, so I'm going to throw it in a big quarter chunk. So just let the food processor do the work. Again, if you don't have a food processor or blender, you do this by hand. It's just a lot easier on a food processor or a blender. And just kind of let that go until it's nice and blended to a consistency that you like. Maybe I'll put it. Now, if you're doing the giblet stuffing and you have a food processor like me, this is going to be about the consistency, kind of like a pate. This is going to be about the consistency you want your onion and giblet mix. So you've had your breadcrumb stuffing mix soaking in 1 bowl. You're going to pour the giblet and onion mix into another bowl. Now, if you're anything like me and you're kind of impatient, be very, very, very careful with these food processor blades. Super sharp. Sharp as a razor. Slice your fingers off. Now, once you got your pate kind of mixture, your giblets and your onion in the separate bowl, you're going to want to add your croutons. Now, these are going to be pretty juicy. Because you've had them soaking in all that moisture. So what you're going to want to do is kind of pick up a small handful, and you're really going to have to get in there and squeeze the juice out of it. You can try and dump as much as you can out, but you're not going to be able to dump all of it. Try and get as much of the juice out as you can. Hopefully you've had your mixture soaking for several minutes. Once that handful is kind of about as squeezed dry as you're going to get it, throw it in with the pate type mixture. You're also going to want to add, once you've got the crouton mixture, stuffing mixture drained and combined with the pate type mixture, you're going to want to use 1 whole egg per bag of crouton mix. Then on top of the spices you already have, I like to add a little extra. I like to add a little extra sage because I really like a sage dressing. So add sage to taste. Now if you've never used sage before, it's going to look kind of clumpy. That's normal. It's supposed to look like that. Add a little bit of sage, not too much, because your crouton mix already has sage in it. Then I also like to add salt and pepper. This is where the low sodium chicken broth comes into play. You don't want your chicken broth too salty, because after you add salt, I like a sea salt because I like the flavor of sea salt better. Just add that to taste. You don't want to make it too salty. I like the fresh cracked pepper. Add pepper to taste. All depends on what you like. Then combine thoroughly. Now you can use a spoon to mix this up. Let's keep it real here. The best way to do this is going to be to mix this up by hand. Just get your hands in there and squish. Okay? That's going to mix it fastest and give it the most consistent mixing. Now when you're done, you can have something that looks like this. It's going to be a little juicy. It's supposed to look like this. Okay? You want it to be about the consistency of a moist pate. Once this is done, this is ready to stuff into your turkey. Okay. Next thing you want to do is get your pan ready. If you're lucky enough to have a big roaster like me, you're going to want to make sure you have something with a lid. If you don't, you can use a cookie sheet, you can use an aluminum foil pan that you've bought from the store. You can get that for like $2. That's my oven telling me it's preheated. Now, inside the pan, you want to make sure you have some kind of rack or something that keeps your turkey a little bit elevated. The reason for this being is that the drippings from the turkey are going to come down, and the bottom part of your turkey, if you don't have it elevated, it's going to sit in those drippings. Then it's going to get soggy and just kind of be inedible. So you want it to be raised up just a little bit. Half an inch is pretty good. So now that your turkey is done soaking in the water and thawing out, you're going to want to pat it dry. You can do this with paper towels. Come on in here. You can do this with paper towels, and you just want to kind of make sure your turkey is nice and dry. Stuff. Okay. Now that your turkey is completely patted dry with paper towels, you want to make sure you went on the inside and patted the inside dry and the outside. Put it inside your pan, again making sure it's elevated. At this point we're going to stuff our turkey. Best way to do it, just go ahead and get your hands in there. Shove it all the way back to the inside of the turkey. You want to get a shot in here of stuffing the inside of the turkey?
Yep.
Making sure to shove it as far back as you can. If I haven't mentioned it before, if you have hair like me, you're going to want to pull it back for all this part of the stuff, because you're not going to want to be pulling your hair back out of your face and then touching your food. Okay, once you kind of have all your stuffing in there, what you're going to want to do to make sure the stuffing stays in there, you're going to see this flap of skin. Kind of looks like a O. Okay, I want to make sure the stuffing is as far in there as you can get. And then pull the legs into this flap of skin. And again, kind of push the stuffing back into the bird. There's a little kind of bone here that'll help you kind of plug that hole. You're going to want that stuffing to kind of be in the bird as much as you can. Okay, the next step, after you got your turkey stuffed and you got the legs tucked into that little flap of skin, you're going to want to kind of coat the outside with some olive oil. Some people will use butter. I don't like to use butter because when my guests come over, I've been told that they smell something burning. The turkey's not burning, it's just the smell of the butter kind of cooking onto the turkey. And it's not a pleasant smell to share with your guests. So I found that olive oil is a really good alternative. Now, I never ever want to pour olive oil directly onto the turkey. This is part of the reason why you want to make sure your turkey skin is completely dry. Just pour a few drops into your hands, like so. Okay, rub your hands together just until they're shiny. Okay, then just rub the turkey. Need more olive oil? Add more olive oil to your hands. But you won't need as much as you think. Okay. One last thing. Come on in here. Now, once you've got your turkey kind of rubbed with the olive oil, you're going to want to tuck your wings in, because your wings are going to cook a little bit differently than the breasts and the legs. They're a smaller piece of the turkey, so you're going to want to make sure you kind of take the wing, pull the little flap down, and kind of tuck it in underneath the turkey, like so. Do the same thing on the other side. Now, if your turkey's being stubborn, or if your turkey doesn't happen to have this flap of skin, remember those little ropes I told you to hold on to? This is where you're going to want to use those. You take them out of the package, you can kind of tie them around the legs, tie them around the wings, so the turkey kind of stays in nice and tight. And that's going to help keep the moisture inside the turkey and also help keep the turkey moist. Now, again, if you don't have a roasting pan, you can use a cookie sheet, you can use a tinfoil pan that you bought at the grocery store, but you're going to want to make sure to cover your turkey when you're cooking it. A lot of times I have used a tinfoil envelope in the past. I've used 2 sheets of tinfoil, kind of tucked it around the outsides of whatever pan I had to use, and then folded it on top so it was kind of a bubble over the turkey and let it cook. Now, last step, we're going to cover our turkey and put it into the oven to bake. I don't put any seasonings in my turkey. I don't brine it. Some people will put stuff on the inside, like oranges or onions. I don't do that. Reasons being is the turkey's going to have enough flavor on its own. Also, you don't want to transfer any extra flavors to your leftovers, like your turkey and dumplings or turkey tetrazzini, your hot turkey sandwiches. I like kind of a plainer turkey. If my guests want to add something, they have salt, pepper, and gravy on the table. So now we're going to put the turkey in the oven and let it cook. So now we're going to put the turkey in the oven and let it cook. And this is the point where you get to go watch the game or do whatever it is you're going to do after you get the gravy stirred. You're going to use the neck as a base for your gravy. It's going to give your gravy an amazing natural turkey flavor, and you're not going to regret it. Okay, once you get your turkey into the oven, you're going to want to take that neck and throw it into a very large sauce pot. This is going to be the start of your gravy. Okay, so you're going to want to get your turkey neck in there. Come on in here and take a shot of this. Then you want to get just enough water into the pot so that the turkey neck floats. We're going to get this going. We're going to get the turkey going on the stove. We're going to kind of start it off on a low heat and let it simmer. Now this turkey neck boiling in the water is going to give you gravy, your turkey gravy, a really amazing natural turkey flavor. As you cook this, the water is going to cook down, so just keep adding water as needed just to keep the turkey neck floating. Once you take your turkey neck out of the pot, you're going to want the heat under your pot to be about this high. Just enough so that the juices and gravy base has about a rolling simmer. Keep stirring all the way to the bottom as you make sure your sauce is combined. In this next step, you're going to want to add flour to your turkey gravy base. Normally, I would pour into my stir, which means I'd pour the flour with my right hand and be stirring simultaneously with my left. Unfortunately, I'm holding the camera with my left hand, so I only have one hand to work on the gravy. You're going to keep adding flour until your gravy is still a liquid, but is a very thick liquid. You're going to see chunks in your gravy, but that's okay. As you let it cook for several minutes and keep stirring all the way to the bottom, the chunks will cook out and your gravy will become a smooth texture and a thicker consistency. Make sure to scrape the sides as you go as well. That way you don't have chunks left. After several minutes, all the clumps should have cooked out of your gravy. It should be a nice, thick liquid. At this point, we're going to turn the heat down so your gravy can continue to cook, but not burn. Add a little kitchen bouquet for a little color if you think your gravy needs it. Now if needed, we can add a little water to the gravy, again pouring into our stir to get the perfect consistency. Keep in mind that as you continue to cook the gravy while you're finishing the rest of your meal, and as the gravy sits out on the table with the meal in the gravy bowl, it'll thicken even more. Thanks for checking out your girl's vlog. You should now have the perfect Thanksgiving turkey, stuffing, and gravy. I don't know when I'll do my next one. If there's something you'd like to see me do for a vlog, put it down in the comments. Make sure to like the video. please make sure to like my page, Real Minnesota Girl, and then also like my YouTube page. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.